Okay, I'm now going to talk to you about something called complex conjugation. And conjugation is something that you've probably come across without realizing before. So we're going to talk about something that's nothing to do with complex numbers to begin with, and then we'll pull it back into complex numbers and see what happens. So I've said here, suppose that x is 3 plus root 2, and x with a little star next to it is 3 minus root 2. Now these are actually called these are conjugations, okay? This x star is the conjugation of x because it's the same as this one, apart from it's just had the symbol of the surd switched from positive to negative. So what I'm going to do is we're going to work out what x plus x conjugate is. Well, x is 3 plus root 2, and x conjugate is 3 minus root 2. So when you add those together, the 3 plus 3 is the 6, and the plus root 2 and the minus root 2 cancels. So we're now going to work out x conjugate. In other words, when you multiply these two things together, so you get 3 plus root 2 and 3 minus root 2. Well, the 3 times 3 is 9. The 3 times the minus root 2 is minus 3 root 2. The root 2 times 3 is plus 3 root 2. And the plus root 2 times the minus root 2 is going to be minus 2. Because square root 2 times the square root of 2 is just 2. So you'll notice that the 3 root 2's cancel and you just get left with 9 minus 2, which is 7. So our answers are 6 and 7. What do you notice about both of the results? Well, both of these results here are just, they have no irrational part. So we have removed the irrational part. Both answers are rational and no longer have a surd. Which is kind of interesting. So does a similar thing happen with two complex numbers that are similarly related in this way? So I've got z, and then I've got z conjugate here. I've got 3 plus 2i and 3 minus 2i. So let's see what happens when I do z plus z conjugate. I'm going to do 3 plus 2i, and I'm also going to do 3 minus 2i. So the 3 and 3 gives me 6, and the 2i and the minus 2i cancel. I just get this 6 that I've got here. Now I'll do my z multiplied by z conjugate. So that's 3 plus 2i and 3 minus 2i. 3 times 3 is 9. I then get the plus 6i, the minus 6i, and then I've got the minus 2i times 2i. So that's minus 4i squared, which is plus 4. This bit here is minus 4i squared. And remember, I squared is minus 1, so you get plus 4. So the 6i's cancel, and we just get 13. So yes, a similar thing does happen. Both our answers are now real numbers. In other words, there is no longer an imaginary part. So that's kind of interesting, similar thing that happens before, and it's all to do with this special pattern of the imaginary part becoming negated, creating a complex conjugate. So complex conjugation. This is what complex conjugation is. If z is a plus bi, then z star, which is z conjugate, is a minus bi, being the complex conjugate of z. Together, z and z star are a complex conjugate pair. So it's just important to note that the thing that gets negated is the imaginary part. Equally, if this was minus, it would become plus over here. You don't change the real part stays the same. It's just the imaginary part that flips. So they like to ask you kind of weird questions like this, which really is just testing your understanding of multiplication and substitution and things. So it says, given that z equals x plus iy, where x is a member of the real numbers and y is a member of the real numbers, find the value of x and the value of y such that this thing is true. And z star is the complex conjugate of z. So they've told us that z is equal to x plus iy, which means z star or z conjugate is x minus iy. Sometimes they write iy. If you want, you could write yi. Just the traditional way is to write iy. I'm not quite sure why of that. So let's just start doing some substitution. We get 3 minus I, and then the z conjugate is x minus iy. Notice how I put it all in brackets because there's going to be a double bracket expansion here. And then I've got 2i multiplied by z, which is x plus iy, equals 9 minus I. Now this looks complicated. We're just going to expand everything and see what happens, and then hopefully we'll be able to figure out what to do next. So I'm going to do these double brackets at the beginning here. So I get 3 multiplied by x, and then I've got 3 multiplied by iy, so that's 3iy. I then get minus I multiplied by x, that's minus ix. And then I've got the minus I times the minus iy. Well, the minus I times minus I is plus I squared, but remember I squared is minus, so it becomes minus y. Just think about that carefully. It's originally going to be a positive because you've got the negative times the negative, but the I times the I makes it become a negative because negative I squared is negative 1. And then from the next bit, we get 2ix plus, oh, not plus because we have the I squared here. 2i times iy, you get I squared, which is minus 1. So you get minus 2y equals 9 minus I. Okay, let's see if we can sort some things out here. Generally, a good strategy is to collect together the real parts and the imaginary parts. So we've got a real part here, here, and here. And then we've got imaginary parts here, here, and here. So the real parts, we have 3x minus 3y. And the imaginary parts, I'm going to just take an I out of this. So if I take out a positive I would have, let's look at this one here because it's positive. I would have 2x. Then I would have minus x. And then I would have minus 3y. And that is all equal to 9 minus I. So let's just do a little bit more simplifying. So that's 3x minus 3y plus I, x minus 3y equals 9 minus I. Now here's the neat trick that you can do. You can compare the real and imaginary parts of both sides. Because they're equal to each other, we know that the real part on the left-hand side must be equal to the real part on the right-hand side. And the imaginary part on the left-hand side must be equal to the imaginary part on the right-hand side. So we know that 3x minus 3y must be equal to 9. And we also know that x minus 3y must be equal to minus 1. I've ignored the I here and I've ignored the I here, but just take note that it's minus 1 that we've got here. Now, you could solve these manually if you wanted to, but I'm going to just go straight into my calculator. You should all have simultaneous equation solvers on your calculator. I'll put in 3x minus 3y equals 9, and x minus 3y equals minus 1. And very quickly it solves the equations for you. X is equal to 5, and y is equal to 2. So the value of x is 5, and the value of y equals 2. This is something they don't really cover very much about comparing the real and imaginary parts of both sides, but it's a great little trick of things that you can do. So really all we did, we subbed everything in, we tidied up by collecting the real and imaginary parts, and then we compared both sides, and then we used a simultaneous equation solver here. Okay, I'm going to do a separate video for the second part of this exercise.